And yes, 2 minutes gone past 7 a.m. this beautiful Friday morning. Thank God it's Friday. All right, the weekend is here and I am super duper excited. Yes, not because I get to rest after today, but I think there's a special feeling that comes with, Friday and knowing that the weekend is here at our doorsteps. How ready are you for the weekend? Well, as much as you would love to dorime, for the weekend, I think there is need for you to also be very, very prudent because the days ahead calls for this heightened level of prudence, from each and every one of us, so that we not end up becoming bambielas, if you know what I mean. No pun intended, by the way. But today, of course, is the 15th day in the month of November 2024, and we've actually today actually marks the first half of the month, and the truth is we've got 15 days left. Goodbye to November, and before you know it, Christmas is here. It is here already, like I'd always say. I can feel it. I can perceive it. Yes. How about you? I trust you all slept and woke up well this beautiful Friday morning. And welcome on board. This is your early morning booster, the Eagles Morning Rise, packed with a lot for your listening pleasure. Well, of course, we get to bring you up to speed with the latest happenings. And by that, I mean taking a look at the blazing headlines across the national dailies for the day, where you also get to call in to react to these lines. And of course, at 8 o'clock, Vicky Vic will be right here to share with you the latest updates coming from the world of sport. At 9 o'clock will be time for Eagles Outlook, a current affairs program where we discuss national burning issues. And the topic for today, as a matter of fact, just to give you a heads up, that way I'm able to keep you on the edges of your seat, right? Would be a takeaway or takeaways from the viewpoints that have been expressed over time by you, a highly esteemed listener out there with regards to security presence, almost every now and then when we have elections, to conduct in the country. And then it actually leaves us with a question whether or not it is a necessity or a scam. So we're going to be having that conversation with a public, affairs analyst and also a fact checker. So we can also fact check some of the disinformation narratives that some of you have with regards to having heavy security presence every now and then whenever we have elections, to conduct, across the country. So I really would be glad to hear you share your 2 cents on this particular subject matter. And of course, all of this will be accompanied with the very best of music, because when it comes to good music, you can count us first. I say that without mincing words. I am a Moife Piece of Semere, and of course, you can tell for those watching us on Facebook and YouTube that I am alone in the studios. And of course, I will be riding solo today. Yes, and just to give you a heads up, that's if you are a new cat right here. You can actually, download our app on iOS and Play Store. You can link with us on YouTube, on Facebook. As a matter of fact, we're streaming on YouTube and Facebook at the moment. So you might want to know what, I look like, beyond the voice. Who is this person? What does she look like? Just come on board and watch us live, right? And we're also on Instagram. We're also on Twitter, now X, and also TikTok, all at Eagles FM Abuja. And for more inquiries or details, right, you can visit our website at www.eaglesfm.com. All right, so before I start off with the usual morning crusade, I'd like you to know that today, being November 15th, is actually the International Day for the Prevention of and Fight Against All Forms of Transnational Organized Crime. So it's good that organized crime thrives worldwide, and it has actually affected governance and political processes, and further weakening the advancement of the rule of law. It actually encompasses illicit trafficking of firearms, drugs, protected species, cultural property, or falsified medical products, and among its most severe manifestations, human trafficking and the smuggling of migrants. It also includes the laundering of proceeds of crime and obstruction of justice. Moreover, with all forms of organized crime shifting ever more to being dependent on or incorporating online aspects, including the use of virtual assets, its reach and capability of harm is increasing. So it really calls for concern. So I just feel you should know what today is all about. Yes, beyond weekend and Friday and having fun and what have you. It is actually the International Day for the Prevention of and fight against all forms of transnational organized crime. That being said, I'd like to, start, the crusade, the early morning crusade. It's safe to call me a preacher woman. Yes, because I think I'm actually doing well in that regards. I really would do well as a preacher woman, honestly, if given the opportunity. Yes. But don't take my word for it. Well, it would be to encourage you, to charge you, to motivate you, right? Because someone will say that, come on, you cannot come here and charge me when I've not, had something to eat. So I'm here to motivate you and also to encourage you, please, not just to charge you, to do the right thing as a patriotic citizen of our dear, our country, Nigeria. By that, I mean, taking 2 minutes out of your time, to talk to someone about the essence of unity and the need for us to stay united is actually important. It is key, regardless of your tribe, your religion. Talk to anyone you see on the street. Just say, hey brother, hey sister, hey grandpa, whoever it is. Even a child, you can also talk to a child, because they say charity begins at home, but it should not end there. It's very, very important. And also for road users, motorists, please say no to one-way driving. Yes, avoid overspeeding as well, because speed actually thrills, but it kills. And we have what's it called now? Not just flyover bridge, we have the pedestrian bridge, bridges across the city, but a number of you don't like to use them. You would rather cross the highways, and it's really very risky. Sometimes you confuse this motorist, so please do well to use those pedestrian bridges that we have across the city. It really would help you a whole lot and make life maybe easier for all of us. On a daily basis. Yes, it's very important. And stop beating traffic is very, very important as well, because people who are on the road, these officers, the road safety, the traffic warders, they are humans like you. So you don't have to make them run, back and forth, chasing after you just because they want you to do the right thing. Come on, we are adults. And also, say no to open defecation. Those of you who are fond of defecating openly and also urinating anywhere you just see bush or grass, you just go there and you do your thing. Come on. I'm sure you've got a little bit of shame left. So please, there are public, toilets across the city or Nigeria. All you have to do is to pay maybe 100 naira or 150 naira, which one will say is fair, because you've also got humans like you there whose responsibility will be to clean up this toilet. So when you go use this public toilet, you pay this little fee. It will be kept clean at all times, so you don't have to worry yourself about toilet infection and all of that. Because some people say that if something to go and use public toilet, I'd rather just defecate openly or urinate because you're scared of toilet infection. Are you also mindful of the hazard that comes with that? To our environment, it's very important for us to do the right thing. And those of you who are fond of dumping refuse indiscriminately, please, it makes no sense. You cannot just be on the road. Maybe you're driving and then the next thing, after eating granite, after drinking a bottle of carbonated drinks or what have you, you just trash it. Come on. Would you do that if you were in the United States of America? I'm sure the answer would be no. So let's make home. Let's make Nigeria great again. It's very possible we can do that. All right, guys, that being said, let me quickly bring you up to speed on 10 things you need to know for today, Friday. Well, the first thing would be that the Federal Executive Council, FEC, on Thursday approved the medium-term expenditure framework for 2025 to 2027 with a proposed budget of 47.9 trillion naira for 2025. Now, this was disclosed by the Minister of Budget and Economic Planning, Atiku Bagudu, while briefing State House correspondents at the end of the FEC meeting presided over by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Number two, President Bola Tinubu has approved the appointment of Daniel Bwala as Special Advisor on Media and Politics State House. Bayo Nanuga, special advisor to the president on information and strategy, announced this in a statement on Thursday. And now, ahead of the final journey of General Taoreed Lagbaja, the late chief of army staff, his body was flown from Lagos to Abuja yesterday, and the final interment will take place at the National Military Cemetery between 2 p.m. and 6 p.m. today. May his soul rest in peace. And moving on, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has distributed sensitive material so all 8 local government areas of Ondo State ahead of a Saturday governorship election. Oluwatoyin Babalola, the resident electoral commissioner in the state, monitored the exercise held at the Central Bank of Nigeria facility in Akure on Thursday. At number 5, the Governing Council of the Federal University Lokoja has approved the dismissal of 4 lecturers over examination and sexual misconduct. It was gathered that the Governing Council granted the approval at its second council meeting on Thursday. At number 6, a man, Musa Jimo, was sentenced on Thursday to a year and 4 months in prison by Justice Rahman Oshodi of the Ikeja Special Offences Court for impersonating a Nigerian Army major and possessing fraudulent document. The judge held that the circumstances of the case were particularly grave. All right, and the Sokoto State Police Command has confirmed the abduction of 2 persons by armed men suspected to be terrorists who attacked Yabo Town, the headquarters of Yabo local government area. Now, the Commissioner SP Ahmad Rufai confirmed the attack, stating that Malam Abubakar Umar Yabo and Malam Abba Muhammad were abducted from their homes by the assailants. All right, and away from Sokoto State, the Ondo State government has declared Friday a public holiday for public servants in the state ahead of Saturday's governorship poll. Now, this was disclosed in a statement on Thursday signed by the Permanent Secretary, Head of Service, F. Ayodele. At number 9, the nation's daily crude production has increased by additional 1 million barrels per day. Now the output is now 1.8 million barrels per day, according to the chief executive officer of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, Mele Kyari. And the last thing you need to know for this morning would be the fact that Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, has granted administrative bail to 2 men, Umar Oricha and Abdul Salami Hudu, charged alongside former Kogi State Governor Yahaya Bello for allegedly diverting the state's funds. The EFCC had filed a 16-count charge against Bello and the 2 other defendants, alleging a criminal breach of trust involving 110.4 billion naira. Ladies and gentlemen, there you have it on 10 things you need to know for today. So real quick, let us take a look. Let us take a look at, the national dailies for today and see what, is trending. All right, we're starting off with the Punch newspaper, and the big news story there says, Ondo Pole, military policeman, boundary, IG orders lockdown. I think I just have to take that again. Ondo Pole as the kicker, military, police, man boundaries. IG orders lockdown. Now this comes to the rider underneath it. Beavers, other materials arrive local governments, and PDP governors ask electorate to defend votes. EFCC warns avert bias. All of that on page 2 of the Punch newspaper this morning. And just above, the logo of the Punch newspaper, it says Tinubu may present 47 trillion naira 2025 budget to National Assembly today. That's on page 19. And then North epileptic power persists as TCN battles tower repairs. North epileptic power persists as TCN battles tower repairs. That's on page 19. And then federal government proposes fresh $2.2 billion external borrowing. You find that on page 19 as well. And when you move on to page 26, fuel import hasn't stopped, says NNPCL. That's on page 26, ladies and gentlemen. And this one here says IOM releases £668,000 for flood relief in Nigeria. All right, you find that on page 22. And then 4 Kogi varsity lecturers dismissed for sexual misconduct. Details on page 4. When you head on to page 21, this one says UBA to raise 239 billion naira via rights issue. All right, I'll leave it there this morning for the newspaper. The Daily Trust newspaper leads with federal government's a proposal of 47.9 trillion naira budget for 2025. Two riders underneath that one. The first one says pegs crude oil at $75, exchange rate at 1,400 naira per dollar. And then the second rider says proposal too ambitious, will balloon debt and inflation figures. This is coming from experts, and that's on page 3 of the Daily Trust newspaper this morning. Nigeria eyes $57.4 billion crude revenue as NNPC surpasses 1.8 million barrels per day. Details on page 19. And then UBA to raise 239.4 billion naira through rights issue. You find that on page 6. When you head on to page 24, this one says a coalition condemns arrest of woman for criticizing banditry in Sokoto. And then on page 4, concerns over cash squeeze in states despite increased CBN supply. Three riders underneath that one. POS operators, customers accuse banks of rationing. And then the second one says grains merchants mop up notes to visit local markets. The third rider says shortage in Ondo ahead of governorship election. So all the funds, all the monies have been mopped up or what? But that's on page 4 of the Daily Trust newspaper. But come to think of it, why is it always a hassle for Nigerians to even access money, especially at this time of the year? I'll leave it there this morning for the Guardian newspaper. Now let's take a look at the I'll leave it there for the Daily Trust newspaper, I beg your pardon. Let's take a look at the Guardian newspaper this morning. On page 6, where you have the big news story, it says oil-backed loans, OPEC quotas threaten federal government's 47.9 trillion naira budget plan. That's on page 6. And then on page 18, this one here says NCC restricts mobile network operators to 7 tariff plans from 369. Moving on now to page 3, oil production to hit 2 million barrels per day in 2 months, NNPCL says. And then this one here, you have this news analysis on pages 4 and 5, talking about Ondo Guba election. It says systemic distrust, voter apathy, economic hardship may mar poll. All right. This one here says NHRC reports 427,000 human rights violations in October. You find that on page 7. And then when you head on to page 6, military, others will stay neutral. CDS vows as INEC distributes materials in Ondo. And then on page 3, Atiku advises Tinubu to focus on governance, not 2027. Still on page 3, $5.5 billion recapitalization calls heighten as vandals destroy 119 electricity towers. You find that on page 3 of the Guardian newspaper this morning for the Guardian. So let's take a look at the Vanguard. The Vanguard newspaper leads with 2025 budget as the kicker. FEC okays 47.9 trillion naira. Federal government to borrow 13.8 trillion naira. Now this comes with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 riders. The first one says budget assumptions, and then exchange rate at 1,400 naira per dollar. Oil price benchmark at $75, and then oil production they're expecting or targeting 2.06 billion barrels per day. And experts fault assumptions, describe budget as ambitious. IMF reports Nigeria absent in good news, included in bad news. All of that you find on pages 5 and 20 of the Vanguard newspaper this morning. And then NNPC media in. Okay, now this is really not too clear, but I'll move away from that to page 12 now. And Okpebolo freezes a state's bank accounts, reverses ministry. 3 riders underneath it. It says how I was elected governor, giving ultimatum on cult clashes, bans groups. Pandev congratulates governor. All right, that's on page 12. And then just above the Vanguard newspaper logo, it says food. Federal government secures AFDB's 134 trillion naira 134 loan for farmers. That's on page 9. And then CDS to DIOs. Tinubu relying on you over national stability and food security. Moving on to page 9, this one says crude NNPC Limited achieves 1.8 million barrels per day production, target 2 million barrels per day. And then you have the sports story here on page 47. It says 2025 AFCON, Osimhen equalizes and Eagles qualify. All right, that's on page 47 of the Vanguard newspaper this morning. And the Nation newspaper is up next. On the front page, it says FEC approves 47.9 trillion naira as 2025 budget estimate. Right underneath, it says lawmakers to get proposal. You take a look at the parameters as well on the front page. And of course, it continues on page 2. But just to hint you on the parameters, the exchange rate has been pegged at 1,400 naira to the dollar. And then crude sales at $75 per barrel. Daily oil production put at 2.06 million barrels. Just like I said before, you find details on the front page, and it continues on page 2 of the Nation newspaper. NNPCL raises crude production to 1.8 million barrels per day. Details on the front page as well, and it continues on page 2. And then recapitalization as the kicker. UBA opens 239.4 billion naira rights issue. Details on the front page, and it continues on page 2. Webolo freezes a government account. You find that on page 6. And then trial of 109 foreigners stalled. Details on page 6 as well of the Nation newspaper this morning. And just above the Nation logo, it says AFDB's $134 million loan for farmers to enhance seeds production. All right, details on page 8. And then Costmates eulogize General Lagbaja at service of songs. Details on page 3. Super Eagles qualify for Morocco 2025 Cup of Nations. Details on page 31. And then Supreme Court delivers judgment today in State versus EFCC case. You find that on page 4 of the Nation newspaper this morning. And real quick, the last newspaper I would be taking, a look at would be the Nigerian Tribune newspaper. Let's see what the Nigerian Tribune newspaper is reporting this morning. It says Ondo election as the kicker. Military deploys troops. IGP orders tight security. And it's with 4 riders underneath it. The first one says INEC distributes sensitive materials to 18 local government areas. And the second rider says PDP accuses ruling party of violating peace accord. It is an attempt to divert attention from your impending defeat, APC replies. And then Damagu, governors lead PDP final campaign rally. Details of that story on pages 3 and 24 of the Nigerian Tribune newspaper. NNPCL reaches 1.8 million barrels per day crude oil production, denies stopping fuel import. Details on page 7. And then investment and securities bill as the kicker. CBN warns against new powers proposed for SEC by Senate. You find that on page 8. Moving on to page 4, UCH still owing 392 million naira electricity bill. This statement is credited to the management. Details on page 4. And then when you head on to page 26, it says 4 deaths in Saki linked to suspected Lassa fever. Moving on to page 8, FEC approves 47.9 trillion naira 2025 budget, set to borrow 13.8 trillion naira. Target economic growth and stability. You find that on page 8 of the Nigerian Tribune newspaper. And this one here says UBA to raise 239.4 billion naira through rights issue. Right underneath it says shareholders to receive 1 new share for 5 existing shares. You find that on page 7 of the Nigerian Tribune newspaper, and that's just about the size of the headlines I will be taking across the national dailies this morning. It's now time for you to call in as usual to share your 2 cents. What do you make of these headlines? But a takeaway from, the headlines making the rounds across the national dailies this morning will be the fact that almost all of the national dailies somewhat compared notes talking about the approval of 47.9 trillion naira 2025 budget, and also the plans to borrow 13.8 trillion naira perhaps to fund this budget. But of course the parameters have already they've been ruled out, and just to refresh your minds that the exchange rate has been pegged at 1,400 naira per dollar. Crude sales at $75 per barrel, and then the daily oil production has been put at 2.06 million barrels per day. All right. Some observers or analysts are saying already that this is quite an ambitious, move. But again, do you think this is a step in the right direction? All of these and more are the stories making the rounds across the national dailies this morning. So go right ahead, call in, and let's hear from you what your thoughts are. As always, we charge you or encourage you to be, to stay civil and avoid the use of vulgar or obscene language. Do well, to maintain at least 2 minutes or less, so we can also accommodate diverse views this morning on the pages. Don't forget to turn down the volume of your radio set, and most importantly, yes, what am I forgetting? Yes, most importantly, just stick to the headlines making the rounds this morning. Do not try to shift focus from what is trending across the national dailies today, so we don't mislead the public. All right, the numbers to call are 090 876 8888 or 090 7353 0044. You can send a voice note or a message to the WhatsApp portal on 090 9705 4450. 090 9705 4450. Well, you can drop a comment, across Facebook and YouTube. We definitely would acknowledge, your thoughts on these platforms as well. And just to remind you as well that you can watch us live on YouTube and Facebook, all right, at Eagles FM Abuja. Do well to give us a follow. Do well to like, the page, especially on Facebook. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Share our videos. Drop a comment. It's very, very important. So let's hear from you what your thoughts are. What exactly do you make of these headlines? And don't forget, the earlier you send your voice note, the better, because of course we are working with time. Hello, good morning to you.
Hello, good morning, MFA.
Yes, good morning. What's your name and
where
you're
calling from? My name is Abdul, calling from Suleja, Niger State.
All right, Abdul, good to have you.
Please, I still want to contribute on this issue of national grid.
All right.
Please, they should try and put it in order quick for us. Because especially those of us in Niger State here, we are suffering. And they call our state power state. But we are suffering. Yesterday, they brought the light. I see my clock. It's not even up to 10 or 20 minutes. They took the lights. And up to now, no lights. So please, they should try and put on the national grid for us. Because a lot of people rely on this light for their business. To sell pure water, bottled water, and products. You see, so please, they should try and do it for us. And I want to congratulate the Nigerian Super Eagles for qualifying for African Cup of Nations. Then NNPC, if importation of fuel will bring the price of fuel down, I don't think there's anything bad in them importing fuel. Since we have our own Dangote in Nigeria here and the fuel is not coming down. Because if the fuel is cost in the market, if the fuel is increased every day the food item also will increase in the market. And you see, we, the common people, we don't have the money to buy it in the market. So the only thing the government will do for us is to bring the price of the fuel down.
All right.
God bless Nigeria. God bless Eagle FM.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much for your line of thought right there. Well, you have no problem with the continuous importation of fuel, but don't you think that somehow it is laughable knowing, of course, that we have refineries, local refineries that are not working? Why don't we put these refineries, in order so they can hit the ground running? That way we don't get to, import, fuel, into the country. Because when you take a look at the cost simply of exporting crude, refining it, and then importing it, it's really a lot. Hello, good morning to you. Hello. Good morning to you. What's your name and where you're calling from?
My name is Chidin DBC from Binez, Kaduna Road.
All right, Chidin DBC, please go ahead.
In terms of this importation of fuel, I beg, who know them for that NNPC, make it help us, make them stop talking about importation of fuel. These are independent marketers. They are enough to join 1, 2, 3 of them to build up a refinery to compete with Dangote. The federal government knows that they will not be able to control our national refinery. Then give it to competent hands that will manage it.
Okay.
Nigeria has about 2 or 3 refineries, modular refineries, to compete with Dangote. The price of fuel will come down. It's a shame that at this time of the year, at 22nd century, Nigeria is still talking about importing fuel. It's bad. It's not good to hear, and it's not good to talk about. Is that 47 trillion budget. Now, wow, let this money get to the masses. Let it get to the masses. That's all. If they want to borrow, it's okay. But Nigeria is buoyant enough not to be borrowing much now. Not that we cannot borrow, but not to borrow much.
All right. Chidin DBC, let's leave it here. Much. Thank you very much for calling. Thank you. All right. Yes, the numbers to call us is 090-8766-8888 or 090-7353-0044. And don't forget that you can send a voice note or a message to the WhatsApp portal on 090-9705-4450. What are your thoughts? What do you make of these headlines making the rounds across the national dailies today? Yes, let's hear from you. I think I'll just have to take the messages, and the calls, side by side. That way I get to perhaps, strike some sort of balance. All right, let's take this call before I take on the messages. Hello, good morning to you.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning. What's your name and where you're calling from?
I'm Mr. Samuel from Bokuma.
Mr. Simon or Samuel?
Samuel.
All right, please go ahead.
Okay. My contribution is because the one that I've been waiting for, we have not seen the effect. It's not showing. So I know that the value of the money, Nigeria currency, for now cannot show, but they should reduce it because actually it will bounce back on us. We are the one paying we Nigerians are the one that's going to pay the money, either one way or the other. We are going to pay the money. It's not attainable. I don't know why that huge amount of trillion to be borrowed for when they have removed subsidy. It does not make sense.
All right.
So. As the importing fuel, government has the right to regulate Dangote. They have to tell him if it is to refine for Nigeria, refine fuel for Nigeria, then Nigeria will not get a right lower for people. Better.
All right.
Nigeria
Samuel, thank you so much.
Yes.
All right, thank you so much for your line of thought. It's becoming quite exhausting, talking about one thing over and over again. I mean, with regards to the back and forth between the NNPCL, the Dante, oil marketers, at some point in time we're made to understand that not being imported any longer, and here we are. So it's really It's really a lot, one would say. Let's see if we can take this call. Hello, good morning to you. Hello.
Hello?
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
Please turn down the volume of your radio set.
I've done that.
All right. You haven't. I can still get the feedback here. Are you there?
This is Lawrence calling from
Lawrence, please turn down the volume. I can still hear, the echo is actually not too good.
Now, no longer.
All right.
Please.
Your name is Lawrence from where? Your name is Lawrence from where?
From Pape, Abuja here.
All right, please go ahead.
Yeah. I'm tired of each time I open radio. I go to hear fuel, no say. Nigeria is an oil country. But yet, our papa, they say, who the hungry, the mama us. Light, no day. Work, no day. Food, no day. Light, water, with water, with the light, they pump water. What is happening now? What is happening? Come out everything, let us be drinking river water. Let us go back to farm. If they can control bandits, they should leave killing farmers. We'll go back to farm and leave everything for those of them who are enjoying. This thing is baffling me. I don't understand. As they pay us, they sue them. As they sue them, they pay us. We are getting okay. I wonder what will happen next year.
Right,
I wonder how next year is going to be. May God help Nigeria. And may God help us.
Thank you very much, Lawrence. All right. Hello, good morning to you.
Hello, good morning.
Would you want to turn down? Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Amalfi.
Yes, good morning.
This is GB.
GB, good
Sorry
to have
for
you.
that. I don't know. Yes.
All right. Where are you calling from today?
I'm coming from Life Camp.
All right, please go ahead.
Yes. The federal government proposed a budget of 45 trillion naira. To me, that budget is too small. We are really serious in tackling infrastructure in this country. The capital budget should not be less than 400 trillion naira. If you are calculator there, that 45 trillion naira is the same thing as 4 trillion naira of Jonathan budget in 2014. Because of price of dollar, naira exchange rate. Because then the official rate was around 120, 125 to 150. Now we have it at 1,000. They put it at 1,400.
Right.
If you look at it, you will see that the 45 trillion naira budget is equivalent to 4.5 trillion naira during Jonathan. And what did they achieve with it at that time? So if you really want to really have a budget that is with infrastructure, security, education, and power, you do not have 100 trillion naira budget.
All right.
But no matter the way, what I want to advise them is to make sure that they are generating enough revenue. Because it's not about what's on paper, it's about the implementation. And if the implementation comes from a revenue, and revenue comes from crude oil production. They are getting $2.3 million per day. They said today we are 1.8. I think they can get up to 3 million if they are really serious. And that will help implementing the budget and also a mineral transition.
All right.
They put the naira at 1,400. If we can put more effort in oil production, I think we can get naira to 1,000 naira, which will make the budget more viable and more robust to implement. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, GB from Life Camp. Right, we're due for a commercial break. We'll take a breather and we'll be back in a bit. Don't go nowhere.
Eagles 102.3 Abuja.
Wow, this feature phone is so good.
Which phone is that?
It is the itel IT5627. It comes with a 2500 mAh battery, which gives you 55 hours of standby use. Type-C charger, triple SIM slot, 3.0-inch screen, plus the 24 months warranty of worry-free use.
Huh? 24 months warranty?
Yes! Go and get yours. itel IT5627. New itel, new experience.
Eagles 102.3 Abuja.
All right, we're back. Thank you so much. If you are just joining us, this is the page is a segment of the Eagles Morning Rise breakfast show where we get to, review the blazing headlines for today and also get your reaction, to these headlines. The numbers to call us is 090-8766-8888 or 090-7353-0044. You can send a voice note or a message to the WhatsApp portal on 090-9705-4450. Do not forget to stay civil and maintain at least 2 minutes or less whilst making your contributions. Hello, good morning to you. Brighto, good morning to you.
Good morning.
And happy weekend.
And God bless you, my dear sister.
Thank you very much. Where are you calling from today?
From Road.
All right. Please go.
My greetings to Mr. Selassie.
All right.
Yes. We are proposing a budget of 40 trillion, 20 more than the last year. And where are we going to bring the money to fund the budget? Borrowing. The one that is under implementation. What are the effectiveness of it? What are we seeing on ground? The only thing that we saw on ground was lack of power, hunger, starvation, insecurity. Where are all the money? We have not seen the money. Where is it on the ground? Nothing. That's the way in Nigeria. The government of people, the only thing that's telling me is that the people that we are praising this government, singing their praises, are the same people praising this same government and pushing it harder instead of telling them this way you are going is not leading us to El Dorado, it's leading us a hurry to deficit in life. No, but they choose to be lying every day, doing what is called hypocrisy instead of patriotism. Our government is not working. Nothing is working in Nigeria. Instead of telling them to resign from up to down, no petrol, nothing, hunger everywhere. They are still telling us that they are improving. I don't know where they will improve. Let them continue. Thank you.
But Bright, this is your voice. You don't sound like someone who is hungry. Oh. But your voice is yes.
No, see, let me tell you. In Nigeria, I have developed thick skin. But see, I know that this government, since from inception, I know that they are not going anywhere. So there's no need of expecting so much. Okay, it's when you expect something too much.
Since you've developed a thick skin, is it thicker than Pomo now?
My own is thicker. So since I don't expect anything, they are not disappointing me at all. So right. That's the medicine.
All right, Bright. Thank you so much for talking to us. Yes. All right. Okay. I think I'll just go ahead and take some of the messages that we have on here. This one here says, Samuel from calling to you, my sister Moefe. Congratulations and welcome to Friday. Borrowing, and borrowing. Nigerian leaders, I hail you all. I am not against borrowing, but when the money borrowed is not used judiciously, then there is need for there's no need for the borrowing. They keep borrowing while our roads are in a very bad shape. Our hospitals are now mortuary because no equipment for doctors to work with. Our schools are in a sorry state. We can no longer move freely even during the day because of insecurity, and farmers cannot go to their farms. Yet they are borrowing and borrowing. What are they doing with these money they are borrowing? Please, God, I pray that you make it easy for us in this country in Jesus' name, and the good people of the Lord will say amen. Omoefe, may God grant you your heart desires in Jesus' name. Thank you so much, Samuel, and may God grant you your heart desires as well. All right, let's take this call. Good morning. Hello.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning. What's your name and where you're calling from?
Chinedu calling from Kubwa.
Chinedu from Kubwa.
Yes.
All right, go ahead.
Every day, dollar rise, naira fall. With my local village fence, can we change our money, bring to dollars instead of naira, that we could follow and the rise as well? This thing is bringing inflation in this country. Every time dollar rise, naira fall. Here and there, things are getting tough. That man who is talking, he says he's a hungry person. He is hungry. Even me as I'm talking now, I did not eat last night. I don't know what to do. Somebody said that we should pack and go to the village. Even if I see transport money, I will go. Now, to enter motor to the village, you must have no money for no fuel, no money to pay transport.
All right.
I don't know where we are going. May God help us, I think.
Amen. May God
Tell
help
them, I
us.
suggest them, may they change our money to dollars so that we could rise. If you go there everywhere, we go to come America. Thank you. That's my local sense. So.
Thank you very much. But Nigeria already gained her independence, so we cannot, adopt the dollar in place of the naira. All right, we just have to keep praying, that the free fall of the naira stops any moment from now. All right. Okay, moving back to the WhatsApp portal. This one here says, "Good morning, Omoife. The NNPCL is lying to Nigeria. They've been lying to us since 1978, when Obasanjo began subsidy payment. When Dangote have not come on board, they told us all forms of lies to justify constant increase of fuel when imported. Today, they are telling us fuel is cheaper to import. There is no way the NNPCL will sell crude to Dangote at $76.50 international market oil market price and expect Dangote to sell fuel cheap. President Tinubu needs to mandate the NNPCL to give Dangote crude at a reduced template of $50. Therefore, Dangote can sell products at a very cheap of 250 naira after refining. President Tinubu needs to do something to harmonize what price NNPCL is giving to Dangote, because Nigerians ought to be enjoying their God-given natural resources, not suffering from it. Abbas from Dutse says. And then this one here from Comrade Ulo Basi. Yes, from Buhari, Abuja says, "Good morning, Lady Omoife. A fulfilled weekend awaits you, please. Thank you so much." As had been insinuated, Daniel Bwala, the former presidential campaign spokesman to Atiku Abubakar, has warmed himself into the heart of the president and had been appointed a media assistant in the villa. That's always a stock in trade of our politicians, whose main concern is to guarantee stomach infrastructure and shortchange the masses. In addition, the executives or directors general who have just been appointed by President Tinubu to oversee 3 government parastatals are from one ethnic group with the president. Does it mean that others of our compatriots are less qualified to occupy such positions? Do we have to continue with what happened during Buhari's administration, where his kinsmen were brought to occupy every government vacancies? I just want the government to have a change of attitude. May God Almighty save us from ourselves. Amen. Comrade Ulobasi from Buhari there. All right. Okay, the numbers are still 09087668888 or 09073530044. Hello, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning. What's your name and where you're calling from?
My name is Praise, and I'm calling from Area 11, Gariki.
All right, Praise from Area 11. Please go ahead.
Yes. My only contribution this morning is on the 1.8 million barrels a day. And I want to tell you a little story quickly. The hen was laying an egg. And every time the hen lays one egg, the hen will shout and lays another egg and shouts. And then lays the third one and shouts. Okay. And the hen was making noise all over the places. And the cricket that was nearby came and asked the hen and said, "Why are you shouting?" And the hen said, "Can't you see the eggs that I'm laying? I've just produced 3 beautiful eggs. And that is why I'm making noise for everybody to hear me." And the cricket said to the hen, "You just laid 3 eggs and you're shouting. I lay 500 eggs a day. And if I'm to shout with every one egg I lay, how do you think I will shout?" And that is just what happens in Nigeria. 1.8 million barrels, and there are 2 jamborees everywhere shouting for us to ring them a bell for a success or what. There are countries that are producing 15 million barrels a day, 10 million barrels a day, 6 million barrels a day, 13 million. US, United States are producing 13 million, Russia 15 million. Saudi Arabia almost 13 or something million. And They are producing 1.8 million. You are bringing them everywhere. They should do better than this. And that is my concern. They want us to go on the street and clap for them for wasting resources. After many years, you are producing just 1.8 million. And you want the whole country to clap for you that you are doing something. It's quite unfortunate. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Praise and do well to praise the Lord on behalf of, all of us, because we actually need that, all right? Because the Bible says we should give thanks in every situation. Give thanks, give praise, to the Lord. All right. Well, the mood for today is somewhat somehow not too encouraging, probably because of the progression of events in the country. But come on, we can't give up. We just have to keep hope alive and keep hoping for the best. We have to remain optimistic, and keep hoping for the best. Let's see if there will be light at the end of a tunnel. They always say that there is light at the end of a tunnel, so let's keep our fingers crossed to see how things would unfold in the days to come. The year is gradually coming to an end, and indeed a lot has actually happened. All right, I think I can take one more call, one or two more calls, right, before I hand over to Vicky Vic, who's right here in the studios already. I think his presence here is just to give me the signal that I need to get off this chair early enough today, unlike what I did yesterday. But Vicky Vic, you must know that all of these, acts or behavior is not really intentional, right? Hello, good morning to you.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning. What's your name and where you're calling from?
My name is Kenneth We're calling from Guarimpa.
All right, Kenneth, please go ahead real quick.
Please, I want to, this is our oil back and front. We want to ask the NNPC and the APC-led government, where is our refinery located? Our Port Harcourt refinery, Warri refinery, Kaduna refinery. Why are they not putting it in order? Why has the president not asked about what is wrong with our refinery? God gave us a very good oil and we are still suffering. Just like as the last speakers, some of them said, there is hunger in the land. Everybody is hungry. If you watch now, people can no longer talk because no strength, no food to eat. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much for your line of thought. People can no longer talk, probably because they've not eaten. And even if they eat, how decent is the meal? I think that's another question we should ask ourselves. And then some time ago, we're made to understand, according to the NBS or National Bureau of Statistics, that a decent meal actually cost just 1,350 naira or thereabouts. And of course, that actually sparked a lot of reactions at the time. That how can you even say that? What yardstick did you use to arrive at that figure? That a decent meal actually costs just 1,350 naira. I hope I'm not even, inflating it already. At the end of the day, we have a long way to go, one would say. And talking about the budget, the 2025 budget, whether or not it is ambitious, the most important thing is plans are underway, to borrow 13.8 trillion naira, to fund this budget. And this is really no news, one would say. It's been like a trend, over the years. And when you look at the parameters that have been, reeled out, with regards to the 2025 budget, how realistic are all of these, are things or decisions or policies? But again, time will tell. Our fingers are crossed to see how things will pan out, at the end of the day. Thank you all so much for, keeping us company on the pages this morning. And just so you know, Vicky Vic is right here in the studios and he's gearing up already to bring you up to speed, with the latest happenings in the world of sport. I'd like to state that the views expressed by the contributors on the pages segment were not influenced by Eagles FM 102.3 Abuja, your radio experience you can count on. And best believe I'll be back at 9 o'clock to discuss politics and also the heavy security presence that we are used to whenever we have elections, to conduct across the country. Sit back and don't touch the dial. Good morning.
Wake up with the morning show. Weekdays 6 to 10.